So the free flow of energy is an important concept. And so that's what I've tried to do for the last 8 years, is to go out and collect as much information and technology that I could, and then start to funnel it towards you. You know, look, folks, if you can ever get out of the third dimension, get into the fourth dimensional thinking, you'll realize that all this stuff we do is silly. It really is. But anyway, as long as we're stuck in the third dimension, we'll have to deal with it. Anyway, I just gave you that little example. All right, so let's go on into a little bit more here. And we might just have to go a few minutes overtime to get some of this thought process across. But listen, this is just the beginning. I mean, goodness gracious. The only thing I'm doing is giving you hints, of what you can be and what you can do. And so don't think, that when we get done here, that's the end of it. It's only the end of it if you decide that it is. And so my encouragement is to keep moving upward and onward. And I think you'll be very happy with the results of your effort and so forth. All right. So let's go into getting out of third dimensional thinking into fourth dimension thinking. Now, I've basically been a fourth dimensional thinker for as long as I can remember. I can't remember being a third dimensional thinker. Does that make me better than you? No, it just means I'm thinking about things a little bit differently. And even when I was doing construction work, which is technically a 3D operation, I was creative with it. And so I looked at it from that dimension into the third dimension to see how these things could operate. And I worked on a job one time. The only reason they kept me around was because they knew I could creatively think. If they ran into a problem or situation that the engineers couldn't figure out, they said, go find Winston. So anyway, a lot of times I was called upon to resolve construction, which was all 3D stuff. And the reason why I could do it was because I had a creative mind. And so that's fourth dimensional thinking and so forth. So anyway, when we start to look at getting out of the third dimensional thinking and moving on, then these are some of the concepts we need to consider. Now again, the concept of duality, the good versus evil, the space-time continuum, all those kind of concepts only exist in third dimensional places. Now, let me describe for you. And keep this in mind. Keep this in mind, because this is critical to the way you look at this accepted for value stuff. And that is, let's say you have a piece of paper here. Now, here's a piece of paper. Look here. Here's a piece of paper. Looks pretty big, don't it, until you put it this way. Now you say, well, there's not much to that. You start to, now, so this is a two-dimensional thing here. And so a piece of paper is a second-dimensional concept, even though it has 3 dimensions to it. For the concept we're trying to demonstrate here, then we can talk about, a two-dimensional thing. So upon this piece of paper, we have words written about this or that and the other. So, it's got all kinds of things on here, that describe some concept. And so anyway, this is basically a third dimensional concept. Now, how do we take this into the third dimension? And I have found that probably that a lot of people are suffering, with this problem here. For instance, people say, well, I just did accept it for value. I sent it off over here to the bank, ABC bank, all that kind of stuff. And they didn't do nothing about it. And I said, yeah, well, did you call him? Did you talk to him about it? You know, that kind of thing. And so again, what you sent them was in the second dimension. It's not even third dimension what you did. See? So you're sending them second dimension stuff, expecting third dimension results. And so perhaps when you start talking about third dimensional, at least in respect to these, then you need to start talking about talk, which is actually sonic. We got words going on here. We got energy. We have vibrations going out. And so just over the last number of years, you know, I have noticed, you know, that people do a very, very good job. They do a very good job with their administrative procedures. You know, we got the international commercial claim, we got self-authenticating security agreements, we got UCC finances. We have all these things that people seem to do very, very well with, but in most instances, it doesn't take it as far as it needs to go. And so to get the results that we want, sometimes we have to go and talk about it. And so people take a two-dimensional piece of paper and they write some kind of, you know, court case on it. They go put it into the court, and then they you know, just sit and well, when's going to something happen? When's this thing going to be over with? Bob, you know, no. And so, so when you do that portion of it, you have to carry through with it. And so I tell people, go call a hearing so you can talk about it. So now you can start to inject energy through sonic transmission. See, so you start to do that. Now, what's the value of sonic transmission? Well, I'll give you an example out of the Old Testament. The walls of Jericho came tumbling down. Now, what do you think brought down the walls of Jericho? Well, some people say it was them crazy Scottish guys, you know, marching around with bagpipes. Well, whatever they had, whether bagpipes or horns or whatever it was, they marched around, set up a certain vibration over a period of time, and then on a certain day they all yelled real loud and the walls fell down. What was that? You know, that was energy. That was sonic energy. And so if you get into situations out here in the, let's say in a courtroom situation, then, you know, you want to move on up a little bit, perhaps go into the court and talk about it. I have a friend who's a natural healer, very, very successful at it. And one of the techniques that he uses is called toning. He will actually vocally emit sonic vibrations at a certain frequency. I mean, he'll just, the last time he did it to me, man, you know, the hair on my arms was standing up and I was doing this here because he's very good at it. And so, you know, again, you know, when you're starting to move interdimensionally with some of these concepts, you might want to think about moving up that way.